Okay, a bit of background information, and that's the last of the memes you'll see from me today. Okay, so launched in 2012 as a feature of Google Search in the Google app, voice search has been a part of the Google landscape for a while now. It's now part of the Google Assistant, which can engage in two-way conversations. Back in 2016, I read an article on the Drum website with a quote from, I think they're a local agency to Brighton, that said, "No official nor relevant voice search tool exists yet, which means that it's impossible to get data from queries that people are voicing with their Google Now," which was the name of one of the technologies at the time, which was the interface for voice search. That made me think back to around a year before when I did some keyword research using Google Keyword Planner on those types of queries. In the same year, 2016, the venture capitalist and analyst Mary Meeker's annual Internet Trends report, she stated that Google Trends implies that queries associated with voice-related commands have risen over 35 times since 2008 after the launch of the iPhone and Google Voice Search. So her analysis was talking about voice-related commands, such as navigate home, rather than your typical searches. So that's the data she presented. She was looking at the commands navigate home, call mum, and call dad. And she was inferring from what is relative popularity data an absolute rise in popularity. So just to be clear, you've got to understand the tools and check your experts' thought leadership statistics. So that's the data to date for those commands from Google Trends worldwide. And around the time of her analysis, the relative popularity of those commands went into decline. Around a year or so later, they went up again, but the general trend is of a decline in relative popularity. So, to reiterate, a line trending downward or upward in Google Trends means that a search term's relative popularity is simply decreasing or increasing. So there's some other slides there which you can read at your leisure about the interpretation of Google Trends data. So there's various pieces of research which suggest the types of topic, which suggest there's certain types of topics which Google Voice Search is more likely to be used for, such as entertainment topics such as food, drink, recipes, films, shopping, travel, local business, or multimedia information search such as video. And the research suggests that, topics of a more private nature, such as health topics, are less likely to be searched for using voice search. So around the same time of all that analysis we talked about earlier, the Google CEO announced that 20% of queries on the mobile app and on Android devices were voice searches. So again, that's data from certain devices rather than globally on Google. And certain people have questioned this analysis as to whether whether all those queries are actual searches or some of them are commands, like the ones we talked about earlier, like call home, call mum, navigate home, etc. So one thing I realized early on is that this Google Voice Search data, which is being used to control certain Google products. This data is available in the Keyword Planner. So this is some old data, but it's just for illustration purposes. From 2017, global Google Keyword Planner data for the Google Nest product, which is a thermostat and all sorts of other home functionality. So you can see the temperatures that people are using the device to set their temperature to. So it dawned on me that this sort of data in Google Keyword Planner might be useful to restaurant chains, because you've got the month-by-month data in Google Keyword Planner, so you can see on a month-by-month basis in a certain locality the ambient temperatures people may like. So more up-to-date data from Google Home. There's all sorts of products which integrate with that, such as the Philips Hue lighting system. So you've got the 2021 UK data there, turn on all the lights, do the laundry, etc. So you've got that product related data there as well. Okay, so legacy products, or should we say, in terms of the wider market, legacy products, we've got the Google Glass there, worn by a famous glass hole. So they stopped selling the Google Glass directly to individual consumers in 2015. So I've got a bit of keyword research here from late 2015, which showed you some of the commands that you were able to do with the Google Glass. So it had flopped, and you could see from the data worldwide that it had flopped. So that's the current global search data for the trigger words OK Glass and the other spelling of it. I think that's 1,000 globally at the moment. But it's worth noting that it's not a technology which has died completely. They still sell it, and DHL use it in their parcels business. Okay, it's worth noting that in the legacy keyword research that I've done, searches would be triggered by voice, OK Google, Hey Google, and that type of thing. But now with the Google Assistant, it's possible to activate it by also touching and holding the home button. So there's manual ways to do it as well. So bear that in mind when you're doing your more current keyword research. Okay, here's some current UK data on phrases with the trigger word OK Google, because it's possible to trigger the device with OK Google and then do your search, and there'll be your search or your command, and they'll be recorded separately in the keyword planner data, to the best of my understanding. So that's just to show you how people are using, an indication of how the most popular phrases that people are using the voice search functionality for, or commands. So here's the global global sample trigger phrase volumes. In 2017, the exact match volume for OK Google globally was 30 million, and now in 2021 it's 9 million. But again, not all of the voice searches are initiated by the trigger word with the new functionality of the new interfaces, such as Google Assistant. So I've already made that point. Okay, so some context for the relative popularity there. There's 45 million searches monthly on average on Google for the word Facebook. And it's worth noting that in this data, there may be inaccurate wait word detection, such as cocaine noodles instead of OK Google. And to be quite honest with you, this is a problem that when I'm creating my shopping list, thinking aloud, sometimes my Google Home likes to respond, but that's just me, I suppose. All right then. So as well as the Google Trend data in Google Trends, there is also Google Trends data in Google Keyword Planner. So that's for the UK, for those trigger words, OK Google and Hey Google, and the mobile search volume is near enough the same as the total search volume. So just to highlight that, you've got the breakdown by device again there for those searches in Google Keyword Planner. Other products is integrated into Fitbit now, the Google Assistant. Google bought Fitbit, I think, earlier this year, and it's worth noting that it's not triggered by a voice, it's triggered by manually, or basically manually. And it's worth noting that you can use the Google Keyword Planner data to look at how people are integrating the technologies into their platform. So ASOS in 2018 launched voice shopping by Google Assistant, and from the Keyword Planner data from the UK, doesn't look like it's getting much traction, to be honest. It's also worth noting that there's other voice assistants and platforms, and there may be data available elsewhere on the relative popularity, on the popularity of those. So Alexa uses Bing's database for search, so there's some data in there as to whether this is I think this is global data. I'm not sure if it's all recorded in there, so I'll have to do some further research. And also Cortana, which is Bing's voice assistant, you've got some data in there in Bing's keyword tool as to whether all of these trigger words and searches are recorded. I'm not certain, but I'm pretty certain that it's all recorded for Google search, it's all recorded in the Google Keyword Planner. And on the subject of Cortana, it looks like as a standalone app, it's a failure. It's been shut down recently on iOS and Android. I think the trend is these voice search and voice assistants are being integrated into browsers, and rather than standing alone. Okay, some takeaways. I've got about 6 minutes, so Danny Sullivan from Google has confirmed that featured snippets are used for voice search, and to the best of my understanding, the featured snippet and the people also ask questions are part of the architecture of the voice search system. So that's a fundamental aspect of voice search, to the best of my understanding. There's a 2018 study that said 80% of Google Home results come from featured snippets, and some other research, I'm not exactly sure what year the data is from, but roughly 3% of voice results come from frequently asked questions pages. So it's worth noting that the people also ask questions that you'll see displayed for a particular search. From one piece of research I did, like there was 20 questions listed when I exported them from a people also ask questions tool, and only 5 of the 20 had any search volume above 10 a month in the UK. And to the best of my understanding, it's pretty much a UK only search. There's certain other areas that they teach this qualification of my clients, so just to bear that in mind when you're doing your keyword research. There's lots of free tools that can assist you with your voice search research and optimization. Answer the Public to help you get your list of questions. Keywordtool.io, again, to help you get your list of questions to use to get the data from the horse's mouth from Google Keyword Planner. Ahrefs Webmaster Tools, I do believe they're a sponsor of the conference and they're not paying me, unfortunately. to say it, but it's a good tool. You can, I'll show you in the next slides. So that's for a client of mine. You can filter their rankings and see for which searches they are ranking in the featured snippet, and also in the search results snapshots that that you get there, you can also see the people also ask questions. There might be a relatively easier way of getting those questions out. For competitor analysis, there's searchresponse.io. So in summary, know your tools, check the stats in your experts thought leadership. Trends on Google can also be followed with Keyword Planner. FAQ schema markup for your question related content is highlighting the types of queries that people may voice, such as questions. And also in beta, and it's US only, there is a speakable schema property to identify sections within an article that are best suited for audio playback using text to speech. So you're bang up to date at the cutting edge, all thanks to me. Google My Business is key to any locally related searches. So by Google My Business, I mean Google Map listings. For that's what I prefer to call them. If you do any searches on Google, you should know that already. Under the ads, most often it's the Google Map listings. And to repeat myself, 80% of Google Home results come from featured snippets. Thus, to a certain extent, attempting to optimize for the featured snippet may be considered optimizing for certain Google Voice searches. It's worth noting that voice assistants do have some other uses. I read on Twitter about someone who was using Alexa-controlled light bulbs, one with a built-in speaker, to convince their flatmate they're being haunted by a poltergeist. So that's interesting. All right then, thank you for listening. Follow me on Twitter at SEO Tips and Tricks. There's not many SEO tips and tricks on my Twitter anymore. It's more politics, but that's how I'm evolving. My slides are on my blog, www.seolondonsurrey.co.uk/blog. And if you'd like to join the voice search Reddit, I created that recently to discuss voice search on all the platforms such as Siri, Cortana, Alexa, Fitbit, and Google Assistant. So thank you.